All right. Give me some advice here, huh?
Yeah.
I got a drink, very tasty little drink.
Oh, yes.
And I had to use a bottle opener to open it.
Yes.
And it broke some glass off the lip and I can see it inside.
You can't. It's got to go out.
No.
You can't.
I don't want to.
Yeah, if you ingest glass, it's not very good.
No, I know.
Welcome to GCP Life, episode number 34, for Friday, the 24th of February, 2023. GCP Life is sponsored by Kasna. At Kasna, we make your Google Cloud solutions possible. And I'm your host, Stephen Bancroft. On today's show, we look into the career of Susan Wojcicki, we look at some new GCP pricing plans, we take a look at some GCP Firewall features, plus we get the latest in the AI wars. But before we get to any of that, I want to introduce the co-host of the show, Dave Wall. How you going, Dave?
I'm doing great, thanks, mate. And you pronounce my name perfect and everything.
I got your name right.
That's all we're going for now. It's the standard we're setting on the podcast.
Apologies, Susan. It's a tricky name and we're going to get it wrong during the show.
But we're going to try our hardest.
Let's just stick with Susan, shall we? I think it's going to be the way to go. So busy week for us, Dave.
It's definitely been a week of, they call it a sprint for a reason.
Yeah. It's a sprint. Yeah, it really, truly has been a sprint. I don't know. I got all my cards done. How about you?
I'm just gazing at your empty swim lane longingly while my cards sit in blocked.
Project management, yeah. But just been so busy with that. I've not even got on to any sort of tech adventures this fortnight. I've the end of the day, I've just gone back up into the house and just been fried, just sat on the couch and not wanted to really play with anything else. How about yourself?
Not a huge amount. We've been talking a bunch about ChatGPT. I actually had something to use it for the other day, and I know my partner's been using it for helping with job ad creation, which has been pretty cool. And then I was sitting there and I'm like, I've got my little side hustle business of mine, and I thought, hey, ChatGPT, write me a business plan. I don't know what I'm doing. Give me a business plan.
And how'd it go? How'd it go with that?
Well, it convinced me to invest in it. This is the figures that it sort of pulled out. I haven't gone back and double checked anything that it put in there. But if I was reading it as if it was an executive summary that it had produced all that for me, I'm like, oh yeah, look at that addressable market that I'm going after.
Well, if nothing else, it gives you some language to use, right? Addressable market. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was nice to put the whole framework that it put it all together, and it was just on a punt. I'm like, I don't even know where to start with this thing. Hey, ChatGPT, you do it for me.
No, well, that's perfect. That's a perfect use case, right? You had no idea how to start.
No idea.
And here you go. You now it's putting those, there's contextualizing some of those phrases that you need.
Yeah, very much so. And then I was able to go back and clarify and say, oh, actually, because it was what was it suggesting? It's oh yes, we're expanding into brick and mortar retail. I'm like, no, I'm not. I am
Take that out, please. Yeah.
So it goes back and it amends everything, and I was pleasantly surprised. Obviously, it's going to need some manipulation, but it was a good way to get the first bones of it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the best use case for it at the moment that I see. Anyway, we'll get onto some AI stuff later in the show. But I wasn't going to make a full article out of this, but it did come across my desk that Uber apparently has struck up some deal with Google and is moving their data centers into Google Cloud.
I saw that, but also Oracle. which I found
and
to be interesting.
Oracle as well. Yeah, so they'd already been in a relationship with Oracle, and they already have a relationship with AWS. So now they're across all three vendors. And what's interesting about this, in the article I'll link to the register, is that the deals are in part responding to supply shortages of data center hardware during the pandemic, when the lead times for hardware stretched to as long as 80 weeks.
We've certainly touched on that as a benefit of why you would go down this path. Like, why would you want to run your own DCs and you have to deal with supply chain issues?
Yeah, just move it to cloud, right? It also said that moving to Google Cloud, it would benefit from a whole bunch of other Google services like Ads, Maps, and of course the database is, it's the best that there is. Cloud Spanner is one they mentioned particularly. So yeah, it looks like it's a win-win partnership for sure.
Indeed. I do wonder. I wonder what services they're actually going to use behind Oracle's cloud. Like, I wonder if they would Uber have actually much in the way of genuine Oracle workloads.
This article doesn't say, but why would you? I'm just putting it out there. Unless you were running Oracle database, you wouldn't. Why would you run something on Solaris on Spark in the cloud? You wouldn't do that, right? I can't see why you would do that. Oracle database, but if you're going to run database in the cloud, why wouldn't you use BigQuery or Spanner? There'll be reasoning there that is not being exposed. Yeah, for sure.
I'd say it's for their most critical workloads, though. So
yeah,
must be Oracle DB.
Yeah, but they do mention Database Cloud Spanner up further in the article, and they say that is one of the products they're going to leverage in the future. So they may have,
plans to transition across. Yeah, but this is a 7-year deal though, so they got some time. Yeah. Anything to get away from that Oracle licensing, hey? Yeah.
Anyway, that's just a little one there at the top of the show.
I'm sure. Or Larry just got another yacht from it.
The guy probably did. Larry got another yacht. Yeah. Anyway, let's get on with the community news. So following on from last fortnight's community news, we're going to spruik the free Hitchhiker's Guide to Google Cloud. Once again, I mentioned it last fortnight. It's on Thursday, the 2nd of March, 20-person session held in Melbourne at the Metalgriff office. And you can learn all about Google Cloud. I'll link in the show notes. And additionally to that, we have GDG Melbourne coming up. And the details, GDG Melbourne is on the 2nd of March as well.
I think friend of the podcast, Mr. Brown, is going to be attending.
Friend of the podcast, Ian Brown, will be attending. Is that right?
I believe so. I think he's coming down to Melbourne.
Well, there you go. I'm just looking at the meetup page now for GDG Melbourne. They don't appear to have the event there, but keep the date. GDG 2nd of March in Melbourne, featuring Ian Brown.
He's committed now. Let's lock him in.
That's it. Lock him in. Cool. Awesome. Let's get on with the news items. So the CEO of YouTube, Susan Wojcicki, has stepped down.
Yeah, and after a long tenure, like she's been with Google since the start, pretty much.
Yeah, that's right. Stepping down for personal health, focus on family, and work on her passion projects. She is being replaced by Neil Mohan.
And you know what? After 25 years, fair enough.
Yeah. After 25 years, fair enough. Yeah.
Where do you go up from? Like, she was in pretty much one of the most senior positions in one of the biggest companies, the most profitable companies in the world. After a quarter of a century, it's not like she was on, a junior developer salary in that time, right? I'm sure.
No, that's right.
She can go have a couple of weeks off.
Yeah. And she's arguably on the biggest social media platform there is.
Yeah.
I mean, who's competing there? For Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. Come on. Like, YouTube's got to be the number one, right?
Just there's Vimeo's catching up. Is that still up?
Just quick go check that. But yeah, look, she's done a lot. She rented out her Silicon Valley garage to co-founders Larry Page and Sergey Brin in 1998 and joined the company as its 16th employee a year later. Now, that's some dedication. She's been there since day one, like literally renting them the space.
Yeah. It was her garage. You might say that she was there first, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and done a whole heap of things in the company and moved through just about every position imaginable. But during her tenure, YouTube became increasingly important to the business for Google, which bought the site in 2006. And Alphabet, the holding company that houses both of them, in 2022, YouTube generated $29.2 billion in ad sales, more than 10% of Alphabet's total revenue.
Yeah, it's astonishing.
She will stay around with the company, though. She's going to be going to an advisory role for other areas of the business, and she'll be supporting Neil Mohan for a period as well.
Okay, so she's sort of moving into the old special projects space.
Special projects. She'll probably still be available to them maybe 1 or 2 days a week. Yeah, but you think of the change that YouTube's been through in that period.
Oh, yeah.
And what they've had to do and fight and introduce new things, and the whole COPA thing, like that was a could have been a disaster for them. But then she's navigated YouTube through all of that.
Do you remember what it was like before YouTube?
Before Google bought it?
Well, but before just it at all.
Oh.
Just so many random little sites.
There was this time before YouTube, back in the dim, dark days.
Yeah, back when you... Wait, I might be conflating my timelines a little bit, but I'm remembering back in the awful times where we didn't have standardized video players and you had to you had a Real Player and then QuickTime installed and then...
Real Player in QuickTime. Yeah. Oh, my God.
And also Flash. You need to have Flash too.
Oh, you got to have Flash, yeah. Yep. The most insecure thing ever created, but yeah.
You know what? I reckon that would have been before YouTube, I think it was all like Flash games and stuff was the majority of content.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Man. Takes me back to the Strong Bad and...
I love Strong Bad, yeah. and Badger.
Oh,
things like that.
Oh, no. We're going to get some rusty spoons up in this.
Yeah, so she'll be, I guess she'll be missed, but you're right. She's done her work at Google, and let's see what the impact of her moving on to YouTube is going to be. If I was smart, the people at YouTube probably wouldn't go making too many changes straight away. Keep things going along as they are. All right, moving on. Google has introduced some new pricing plans. Now, I had a look at this article, the blog article on Google, and I have to admit, I found it difficult to find actually what this was.
Okay, so I'm glad that I'm not the only one.
Yeah. I know that it's called flex agreements, right? But based on this article, I'm not actually able to tell you what it's given you other than the marketing spiel of it's better for our customers. Did you read that this way?
Well, yes. I think that it was just a way to kind of smooth out your committed use discounts instead of having to have significantly larger ones.
Yeah, so that I can see, and that if that's the crux of what it is, then that's pretty easy to explain. In the blog, there's a diagram that they give you, and the problem typically is if you are using something like BigQuery and you jump over a certain threshold, then you'll move up into the second warehousing sort of pricing bracket, and you'll stay in that bracket for a period of time and then drop back down. Now, even if you don't use all of that in that period of time, you still charge for it. Right? It may have just been a spike at the start and then drop back down, but you still charge for that period of that block of time. The new Flex agreements will chunk that to smaller time periods. That's my read of it anyway. And it's all about reducing costs ultimately.
Right. And I guess enabling more people to get on, like have a lower barrier of entry to get into having an agreement so you can start to get some of the savings from it.
Yeah, there's less need to commit to an upfront spend. I think that's the barrier that they're referring to, the upfront spend. Taking from an article here on SiliconANGLE, as part of today's update, the search giant debuted a new procurement option for enterprises called Flex Agreements. Such agreements also offer access to discounts and related benefits, but remove the need to make the upfront spending commitment that was necessary until now. Right, so it's about getting enterprises in. They also made changes to Google Workspace. Now, there's some US dollars here that I'm going to quote. The following price increase: the Business Starter, Business Standard, and Business Plus versions of Google Workspace will cost $720, $1440, and $2160 per user per month with a flexible plan. Yep. They made some changes there as well. There are also going to be changes to its public cloud offerings available in 3 new editions. So this is where the Standard, Enterprise, Enterprise Plus comes in. Now, I don't know, is it a subscription thing perhaps, or
might be, unless it's a subscription or it's a tier of commitment?
Right. So this article does go into what's included. The Enterprise will include features designed to help companies more easily navigate regulatory compliance, disaster recovery tools, and it's designed to host mission-critical workloads. So maybe it's like a tool set that you will get. You know how Security Command Center and a few other things, you've got to buy a subscription to get like the advanced features for it. I have a feeling that they're sort of packaging those things now.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Mid-range enterprise products will include a broad range of features designed for customers with workloads, high demands, flexibility, and reliability. So they're not going into it exactly here. Maybe if I've got an opportunity in the fortnight, I'll go and have a little bit more of a dig through and find out what it is, what's included in those packages. And then to get back to what we were talking before, BigQuery's auto-scaling capability as part of the updates announced today. So the service will gain the ability to add and remove infrastructure in a more granular manner.
Right, so that was the BigQuery sort of graph that we saw in the launch article. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. So keep an eye out for some new pricing. Okay, moving on. On top of new pricing, there was a blog article that came out on Google Cloud recently talking about Google Cloud Firewall's capabilities. And we already knew about some of these, but it's nice to have them all sort of in one little one neat package here. But what's also good now is that the features are now available via the command line and the API. Yes, good. So what are these features that were announced in October 2022? And they introduced, I think it's when they did the firewall policies, when they brought firewall policies in.
Yeah, I think it was about the same time, yeah.
About the same time, yeah. We introduced Google Cloud threat detection, still in preview. This next one, domain name, fully qualified domain name based objects. Oh, that's a good one. Geolocation based objects. In the essential, they introduced global regional network firewall policy, now generally available. IAM governed tags and address groups. So just have a little breakdown on what a couple of those are. Google Cloud Threat Intelligence. It allows the firewall to block traffic from known malicious IPs or Tor exit nodes. Hope you're not running a Tor exit node there, Dave.
No. I do like having Tor inbuilt into my particular browser. Like, that's helpful. But no, I'm
Brave.
not. I'm using Brave, yeah.
Brave's got it built in, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a cool feature. Allow traffic from other sources such as search engines, public clouds, upstream providers, CDN caches, and they're continually updating that IP list to block those threats. This other feature that I really like, domain name FQDN based objects. Now, I've wanted this in firewalls for years, and I didn't know why firewalls just didn't support this out of the box. What would be so hard about doing a lookup on an IP address and then just doing a rule based on a DNS name instead of an address?
Yeah, so is that actually what it's doing? Like, if you put the domain name in there, it will do. It's going to go and find out the IP address for that server, or?
Yep. With domain name FQDN based objects, Google Cloud takes care of knowing the exact IPs for the FQDN in firewall rules.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's nice.
That is nice. Yep. So the kids are carrying on. You want to block YouTube? YouTube.com. Boom. Blocked. Right?
Sorry, Susan.
Sorry, Susan. Yeah.
So that would be helpful then, because I'm thinking, like, such a common use case is like, you're blocking traffic out, but you want to allow access to some API endpoint.
Just do it with the domain.
Yeah. So it
would have
say
API.
Theoretically, you have like, I don't know, api.splunk.com or something, right? You can add that in instead of having to go through and find out what IPs you need to whitelist.
Which could change. That's right. I guess you could fudge it up with like a layer 7 switch somehow, but this bakes it right into the firewall.
That's what we want, right? We don't want to have to. Yep. The best part is no part, so we don't want to have an extra.
Yeah, that's it. IAM governed tags. So this is a cool feature too. New type of resource management tag with enhanced security properties that can be applied to various Google Cloud resources, including VMs. And you integrate the tag into your firewall policy, and it gives you a mechanism for micro-segmentation based on the IAM tag. Now, it's not a network tag, right? This is a new type of tag, an IAM government tag, and I think we did mention it when it first came out. Strictly controlled by IAM permissions, and you do it at the IAM and sort of user level. Much more secure.
Yeah, really good.
And this last feature that I wanted to talk about is like, why didn't we have this before? Address groups, right? So when you create a firewall rule, you can only have one IP at a time at the moment. Now we have address groups, right?
Yes.
Something every other firewall has had forever. So you can set up a collection of IPs or a range of IPs. Thank goodness.
Can we put a series of domain names in there then? Can we put that and the domain objects together?
Yeah, it does. Well, yeah. I mean, it kind of suggests that that's a possibility.
You'd hope so.
Going to have to have a play with it. I think the project we're on now it's not really using these firewalls, but I think the next big project in the future may do.
Yeah, definitely.
We're going to have a look at that. So there you go. There's a bunch of new features for Cloud Firewall. And while we're on the security theme, I thought I'll link in the show notes an article from Mandiant. We know who Mandiant is.
Just a little company. I don't think anyone wants to buy them or anything.
No,
it certainly hasn't been a long drawn out.
No, it wasn't a big deal at all when it got bought.
I can see it up in the top left there. Got Mandiant, now part of Google Cloud.
Now part of Google Cloud, that's right. The majority of business cybersecurity decisions are made without insight into the attacker, according to a new Mandiant report. So basically, people are making decisions and they're not even sure why they're doing it.
Who's going to attack us? Someone.
Yeah. So we'll just try and cover all bases. And yeah, how's that saying go? If you try and please all the people all the time, you please no one, so you get nowhere with it. The report is based on a global survey of 1,350 cyber security decision makers across 13 countries and 18 sectors, including financial services, healthcare, and government. Despite the widespread belief that understanding the cyber threat actors could be targeting their organisation is important, 79% of respondents stated that their organisations make the majority of cybersecurity decisions without insight to the threat actor that is targeting them.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me at all. Like
79%.
But, I mean, we've been in plenty of discussions with your security teams and stuff, and you know, a lot of it is just, we'll have to defend the perimeter against all of them. Whoever it is, got to stop them.
Yeah. Fly by the seat of your pants, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It goes on to say that 96% were satisfied with the quality of threat intelligence their organizer is using. So
that's surprising.
That's a false confidence. I mean, I'd see that as a false confidence. Respondents declared effectively applying that intelligence throughout the security organization to be one of their greatest challenges.
Oh, right. So we've got a great tool and we do nothing with the data.
Yep. Only half of them, I think, it's applied. And then further, almost 98% of those surveyed said that they need to be faster at implementing changes. So we've got nearly everyone satisfied with it, but half of them say they aren't doing a good job. Right? And 98% of them, nearly all of them, say they don't respond quick enough.
Yeah.
But we're satisfied with the quality. So
yeah. They trust the tool and they don't trust their internal systems to be able to actually implement.
Yeah. You know, if I was like on the board of Medibank or, you know, AHM or whoever, I would have this, like, you know, your weekly get together. I would have cybersecurity as an item, like a fixed agenda item.
Yeah.
You know, where are we at? And there'd be a checkbox there. You know, have we, you know, where are we at with password rotations? All this simple stuff, right? Make sure that is filtered all the way down to the people that are actually doing it. Yeah, there might be bigger ticket items for a board to look at, but it needs to be paramount. It needs to be present in everyone's minds. Yeah,
I guess it's where like the benefit of having, you know, the whole Beyond Corp model is, though. Like we don't trust anything.
No, that's right. Yeah, zero trust.
Yeah, I have to assume that I don't trust you. I don't trust me. I don't trust my own device.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and then the article goes on to say, however, despite these concerns, security decision makers remain optimistic regarding the effectiveness of their cyber defenses. You can be optimistic all you like, right? But don't have an overinflated sense of self-confidence.
Just over half of respondents felt that they could prove to their senior leadership team that their organization has a highly effective cybersecurity program. Are you just hoping? Oh.
Yeah. yeah, so I don't know. It's like everyone's really confident, but when push comes to shove, they can't prove it to you. They can't show you. Couple of little interesting point here. When asked to rank which countries their organisation would be able to fully defend against, more than half the respondents, 57%, said Russia, followed by China, 53%, North Korea, 52%, and Iran, 44%.
I mean, it's an interesting statement, though, right? Like, unable to fully defend itself. I mean, it's not as simple as just, geo-blocking IPs from Russia, right? Like, VPNs exist.
Yep. All the IPs are all jumbled around now anyway because people are doing BYO, right?
Yeah. Everything's all over the place. I get that. I could understand stating that, we couldn't defend against a nation state. Like, we might be able to defend against a script kiddie, but a
nation state with like a huge
security
distributed attack.
Yes, and like a security apparatus that deals, remember like Stuxnet and all those. What was the one? The one that took down that huge shipping company? I know there's been a couple now, but was it Toll that got crippled by the Russian attack?
Toll did get crippled, didn't they, a few years ago now?
Yeah, it was like they lost everything.
Wasn't that a ransomware?
I think so.
Yeah, and then a couple of other figures here. Only 38% of security teams share their threat intelligence with a wider group of employees for risk awareness. 78% of respondents relayed that their organisation could focus more time and energy on identifying critical threats. Anyway, good article from Mandiant. There's a lot of numbers in there and a lot of stats, so go and take a look. There'll be a link in the show notes. All right, let's move on, Dave. Let's move on to the AI wars.
AI wars.
Yeah, just wanted to kick off this week's AI Wars segment with, because it's a segment now, Dave. You realise that? It's a segment.
There's no stopping this train.
No way. The AI Australia podcast, which is produced by Eliza, one of our sister brands, in the last episode of the AI Australia podcast, they talked about pros and cons of using ChatGPT in classroom, why ChatGPT is viewed as a form of weaponry by some people, the opportunity for ChatGPT presents society as a whole. They dive right into it, deep dive into ChatGPT. Of course, their main purview is responsible use of AI. So if you want to get the skinny on AI, and they can do a far better job than we can, go and listen to the AI Australia podcast. I'll link in the show notes. We might even get them on one day. That'd be exciting.
Yeah.
Get them on our show. Yeah, that'd be good. And they'll give you a weekly wrap-up of what's going on. But right now, of course, we're interested in AI as it affects Google and where Google sits and how we're going to fight off the scourge of Bing and its AI.
Bing. Bing.
Bing. Has Google already lost the ChatGPT war?
Well,
what do we think on this?
So this is interesting because last podcast we had a play around with Bard. Through a private preview or through some people that we knew who had access to the preview, which was cool. But I think at about the same time that our podcast would have come out, the announcement and demo of Bard happened and
landed. Yeah.
Well, the demo gods are sometimes not particularly favorable.
And how much did it end up costing Google?
Just a sneaky $100 billion.
$100 billion off the share price. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've got a link to exactly what I think in one of the articles I'll link in the show note. It links off to the incident that happened with Bard and he gave a wrong answer and it ended up costing Google a bit.
Yeah, I think it was. It asked a question about. I think it was about James Webb, or it was about something else. But it ended up saying that, oh yes, the first time we had photos of this thing was because of the James Webb Telescope, and that wasn't the case. It was like it was old data. So, it was a very convincing answer, but it was wrong.
I will link a couple of articles in the show note with regards to this. But I think the hotness is going to be in relation to AI-assisted search. That seems to be what everyone's angling for at the moment. Google is a little bit sensitive towards that. They don't want to rock the apple cart too much. Like, they're happy with what Google search is doing at the moment. There's a pie chart here saying that in terms of revenue, Google search is earning Alphabet 69% of their revenue.
Yes, we touched on YouTube before. That's 10%. Our friends at Google Cloud is 9%. So yeah,
and all the other stuff 12%.
Everything else, other bets, but 69% for search. Anything that they don't want to stuff that up.
No,
but if they don't evolve, then perhaps somebody else can take a slice of that pie.
That's right. So it's a real quandary at the moment, and a real scramble to try and get something that's workable and something that's not going to screw everything up. Google search has grown unfettered by any serious competition for many years. Another chart here. FY 2018, we saw 85 billion. FY 22, 162 billion. So it's doubled in those 4 years.
You know what I think, where I could see it being super helpful is, I'm a big proponent of like Google Homes, and I use mine all the time. But I think if they could get that to be, Bard enabled, that would certainly help with some of its responses, especially some of the random questions that my kids ask. And if it's not, something that can have pre-canned, like, what's the forecast, or some sort of very common fact, if it's not like that, then usually what'll happen is it'll find like the top article, maybe about the thing, or a Wikipedia page, and it'll read out like a blurb, but it's got a word limitation. It'll just stop. So, right. I think having that be more conversational would be, especially when you're actually talking to it. So,
yeah, if you could set up a conversation with it, then you could sort of dig into the topic a little bit more, couldn't you?
Yeah.
But what I found interesting about this, and the Register article that I'll have in the show notes, talks about, it's an opinion piece, and it talks about what's happening to Google search. And this seems to be a phenomena that a few people are getting onto, is Google is at pains to say that its search output contains 50% less irrelevant content than 8 years ago. And a lot of this phenomena is being driven by SEO and companies forcing the searches into the search algorithm. So they're becoming less and less relevant what you search for.
And I guess that makes sense, right? Like, kind of like, your hackers. There's so many people who are trying to hack the system of SEO, but there are professionals out there that their whole job is to go and help you list higher on Google.
That's right. That's right.
And the min-maxing that can happen there.
Yeah, so this could be something where AI could help, right, to surface something that's relevant for you. It's not exactly clear how that would happen, but I'll also link another video which relates to this, and it's a YouTube video, and they're talking about what happened to Google search, and the phenomena that seems to be happening at the moment, that that is not helping this along with SEO is that a lot of the data that you would have traditionally indexed is now being migrated into these isolated data silos. So how many forums have moved into Discord, for instance?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? In the past, you would have done a search and you would have landed on a PHP forum and you would have found what you want. But Google's not indexing Discord. It's kind of locked up in there.
Yeah. Rolling little gated communities.
That's right. And it's just getting, the phenomena is getting worse and worse and worse. There's groups in Facebook where all that information's essentially locked up. If you want to do a meaningful search, you either need to put either Reddit or Stack Overflow or Wiki into the search to find the article that you want. Right? I know if I'm looking for something and I want the Wiki, it used to be you look for an individual and the Wiki article would be like the first hit. It's not the case anymore. You got to put Wikipedia in the search to force it to go to Wikipedia. Right? Because of all the SEO pollution and the fact that all the data's been in the gated communities, as you say, Dave. So I see potentially that as an area where AI could help improve those search results. But they've got to be really careful about it. Anyway, go take a look at those articles, links in the show notes. All right, well, I think we've been talking enough today, Dave. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think we can give people some time back.
That's it. I hope everyone's enjoyed the show.
Thank you for attending this meeting.
Oh, it'd be really cool. Maybe we could have a chatbot as a guest one day. That'd be fun. Would that even work? I don't know. Anyway, go and help out the show. Go to iTunes, write us a review. And don't forget you can contact the show, gcplife@casno.com.au. We've got the Twitter there @gcplife. You can Google us on the website. I think that search still works properly, unlike some other searches.
Hey, are you showing up?
I don't know. I haven't gone to have a look. Just maybe go and have a look at that while we. And don't forget, today's sponsor is Casno. At Casno, we make your Google Cloud solutions possible. How's the search look, Dave? Am I there, or is it you?
Doesn't come up with the little
doesn't
pictures,
have the picture there
so
anymore.
I don't know if it's me or you.
I've been unusurped, so to speak. All right, guys, that's about it for us. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.
At Casna, we make your Google Cloud solutions possible. Solutions. At Casna, we make your Google Cloud... Shut up. Yeah, we're good to go. All professional here.
Hello, and welcome to podcasts.